Greetings from California. Good evening. And in your case, good evening or good morning, whatever the case may be. So today, I've had this conversation come up many times. And today was the final straw where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make a video about this and get the correct answer out there. So one thing that I've seen lately that's been going around, it's almost like this new fad or this new belief system. I don't know what to call it, but it's trending. There you go. Something that's been trending right now is Blackjesus. Now, I'm not joking. There's this whole group of people, in my opinion, that are a cult that call themselves Black Hebrew Israelites. Now, before I get into this conversation, it has nothing to do with being racist. I'm just saying that there's a group of people out there that believe that only black people go to heaven and everything else is an infidel. Now, this whole thing, most of it, this belief comes from one verse from the Bible in the book of Revelation 1:14. Now, the argument is that they're saying that Jesus is of a certain skin color because of this verse, and I'll read it. Revelation 1:14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Now, their whole belief and their whole stack of blocks all stack on that part where it says his hair was white like wool, as white as snow. Now, I think the mistake is that they are confusing or taking this out of context. This is not describing the texture of his hair. They are using wool and snow as a description of the color of his hair, not the texture of his hair. Because it is saying that his hair is white like wool, as white as snow. So therefore, if you think his hair being white as wool means his hair is like wool, well, wouldn't it be a bunch of snowflakes hanging down too off his head? Because it says it's like white as snow. So he has wool and snowflakes hanging off his hair. You're taking that out of context. They are talking about the color. They're comparing the color, not the texture. So if someone were to say, oh, I'm Lionel, for example. Lionel has hair as red as roses. It doesn't mean that my hair is the texture of roses all over my head. I mean, I'm not trying to start anything or start some kind of huge controversy that Jesus is this color or that color. But what I do know is that verse does not describe the texture of his hair. And the bottom line is, why is it so important? Jesus' race. So what if he's black? So what? If he's white? So what? But my point is that that's not what this is saying. This verse, Revelation 1:14, is not saying that his hair is the texture of wool. It's very clear. It doesn't take a genius. This is English 101. Okay. And I also think this whole thing, how people have this pride in their culture and their race, I think it's evil. It's pride. Like, why is it so important that Jesus needs to be your race? What does it matter? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But what bothers me is when people read things out of context so they can fit their own opinion, and they use the Bible and they shape it and twist it how they want so they can fit their narrative. So with that being said, Sabbath at midnight, Revelation 1:14, it is very clear and very easy to see. Any English teacher would tell you that this is not describing a texture, but it is describing a color. It is comparing the color, not the texture. Always God bless and have a good night.